Hello, everybody, and welcome to October ADHD Unlockers. And October is ADHD Awareness Month. So throughout October, and we did one yesterday, we're doing a series of special extra webinars that are open to the public to help raise awareness for ADHD. So we'll keep you posted on that. So do make sure that you like our page, ADHD Unlocked, on Facebook, and also make sure you join our group, the ADHD Unlocked community, on Facebook too, to keep up to date, and also sign up for our newsletter on our website, which is adhdunlocked.co.uk, so you can be kept up to date with all our special webinars. But it's a very challenging week for many of us with ADHD, because this week we've been looking at the lovely topic of relationships. Something that's never quite got right, ever, despite being 47 in my life. But Steph, relationships, are they a walk in the park? And if so, what kind of park? The local park or Jurassic Park?
Yes, you already know the answer to that one, Michelle. I mean, relationships are not easy for anyone, marriages, everything. It's not easy, but for ADHDers, yeah, it kind of takes it to the next level of challenging, as I'm sure everyone would understand, for so many reasons, right? So Michelle hosted the webinar on the challenges, and particularly, which I'm sure she can outline for us now.
Yes, I hosted a webinar, not on the challenges of when you're in a healthy relationship and your ADHD challenges are kind of maybe causing some friction in that, or otherwise healthy relationship in terms of communication and ADHD traits. But actually, a lot of us with ADHD do tend to choose badly and find ourselves in relationships where we tend to overgive, or we tend to forgive too readily, or we tolerate behaviors that are unhealthy or abusive. We feel we're less than, we feel we're maybe not worthy, we're maybe attracted to bad boys or girls, or people that maybe don't give their love as readily, and we feel we have to win them over. So we tend to find ourselves in unhealthy relationships and unhappy relationships because we've chosen badly because of our low self-esteem, various other reasons. And also then we tend to have friction within our otherwise healthy relationships because of our ADHD challenges to do with executive function and tidiness and lateness and communication and emotional dysregulation. So particularly yesterday, I was looking at the choosing and the building of your self-esteem and your self-love and self-worth so that you can choose correctly. But also, Steph, you've been looking at the other side about how to communicate and iron out the creases when you're in an otherwise healthy relationship.
That's it, yeah. So we kind of kicked off the week with our webinar on Monday, and we covered Melissa Orlov's ADHD and Marriage, what she has to say about ADHD, and going back to the whole ADHD lens, the importance of understanding ADHD, which, given it's October ADHD Awareness Month, it is all about really understanding ADHD and in the context of a relationship, understanding maybe your ADHD partner. It could be that you've got ADHD yourself, so better understanding your ADHD and how it may maybe trigger some of the things that you do or don't do, how that kind of might lead to some conflicts in the relationship. And then if you're fortunate enough to have ADHD and also be in a relationship with another ADHD, which is very, very common, chances are that, research shows that it's more likely that, you will end up with someone with ADHD if you've got it yourself. A whole host of new challenges. Melissa Orlov talks about something called, I think it's like symptom response. So it's not only, responding to, a symptom, but then responding to that response to the symptom, which just escalates, because obviously with ADHD, we've got the rejection sensitivity, the emotional kind of dysregulation, the hyperarousal. Yeah, it can get intense.
Yes, I can imagine so. Somebody's just asked a question in the chat. Are the statistics better if both people in the relationship are ADHD? I don't know about that. Do you know, Steph?
Ooh. Oh, I don't know what that's, I don't know if they've done any research on that. That would be that's a good study to do, actually. But I guess in everyone's experience, I guess it's because a lot of us will be in relationships where our partners have got ADHD. I see that a lot in coaching. Um, and I think actually, well, I would assume, and maybe that not correctly, but I would think that it would be more difficult with two ADHDs, depending on the ADHD. Remember, no two people with ADHD are the same. So it depends on the type of ADHD that you've got. You know, you may have two inattentive types. And I coach a few of those. I don't see so many of those, but those ones have trouble actually deciding on anything. Because, you know, one ADHD will go, I don't know what I want to do. You know, you choose. And then the other ADHD, no, you. The whole people, both of them trying to people please each other and not quite, you know, having their own agenda. So yeah, they don't quite get things done. And then you've got the more common dynamic that I see in coaching is the kind of what I describe as forgetful fairy, worrying warrior type. And you've got the ADHD that might, you know, really know what their agenda is, can think ahead, you know, quite organized too, become quite vigilant about being organized. And then the other ADHD are inattentive, time blind, people pleasing, no boundaries. And I see that play out a lot.
Yeah, and you can see this in this kind of dynamic of awareness of your own ADHD kind of traits and symptoms and how it affects you. I think is key to when you're in a relationship and when you're out of a relationship to then choose correctly. So building that self-worth, filling your fuel tank will help you if you're in a relationship and you have those ADHD challenges to do with emotional dysregulation, rejection, sensitivity, communication challenges, and when you're out of it. And I found, since I've been doing all of my self-care work very, very diligently, and all of the self-worth work and self-love work, that my tank is much fuller. I'm much more emotionally regulated. I've hardly had any emotional dysregulation since my tank has been full. So Steph's is thinking, have you?
No, you've been, no, honestly, like Michelle's been incredible with self-care. She's really prioritized it and it has made a huge difference. So yeah, she's the evidence.
So it will make, thank you, Steph, it will make a huge difference to you when you're choosing perhaps a new relationship so you don't get into an unhealthy one, because the difference is phenomenal when you know your own worth and you love yourself, because you don't think, well, I deserve that, or no wonder, you know, they're angry with me, or this, that, or the other. You just go, no, I've got my boundaries, and boundaries are another key. So we've got the issue of keeping our self-esteem high with self-care. Boundaries we find very difficult. We have done a whole week on boundaries and establishing your boundaries, thinking about your boundaries and keeping those boundaries firm, whether you're in a relationship or not, or you're about to embark on starting dating. Those boundaries are going to help you either choose a healthy relationship or make your relationship healthier in the first place. And as adults with ADHD, we do have those challenges. We do chase the dopamine hit. So maybe in a relationship, we're subconsciously picking a fight if we're low on dopamine to maybe get that kind of kick, or we're choosing the wrong people so that we're getting the roller coaster emotions. We're getting addicted to that drama within a relationship, which is why so many of us end up in an unhealthy relationship. So being aware of that and being aware of how our ADHD impacts us as individuals and generally adults with ADHD, we can have really healthy and loving relationships. And we've got some tremendous traits that make us brilliant in relationships, in terms of, you know, we tend to be very affectionate and giving and spontaneous and generous and tactile and all of these things, and you know, feel all the feels. So if we get the challenges nailed, as with the rest of our ADHD, we can have the most wonderful relationships. But we do have to do a little bit of groundwork and keep our self-care levels really high so that our self-worth is there. So it's all about these building blocks, because if you're, you know, eating badly, sleeping badly, not exercising, stressed out, burnt out, your emotional dysregulation is going to be poor. So if you're in a relationship, you're going to end up in arguments or tolerate stuff you shouldn't ordinarily tolerate, or you're going to, you know, maybe choose badly or end up in a relationship that isn't right for you at all. So that's what we've really got to think about, is knowing, accepting, and self-care. I think is the key to both sides of this. So I'm out of a relationship and you're in a marriage, Steph. So for both of us, I think that's the key here.
Yeah, no, spot on. The fuel tank, going back to the fuel tank. Yeah, if you don't have anything in that tank, there is nothing, you can't give anything else to anyone, including your, you know, your loved one. You just can't. And actually I see this happen a lot. Whereas, you know, the partner wants to spend time, and because your fuel tank, because you know, you might either be a workaholic, and you're maybe really stressed out about, you know, I've got to work, I've got to spend any spare time for my work. And then you finally get that time to yourself. And it's like, oh, I need to fill my tank. But the partner might, hey, let's spend time. But a lot of the time, the ADHD will be, you know, like this, not ready to like spend time and give of themselves. They need to fill the tank up. So yeah, it's really important to, you know, the more you get in front of your ADHD challenges and learn kind of how to manage your own energy, and you'll, you know, more likely you'll have more in the tank to just even give the time, you know, to the relationship. So that's another reason why it's really important to understand.
And that's a really interesting point as well, because if you're self-aware, you'll then be able to communicate that your tank's low. So if somebody's trying to receive from you and you need to spend time together and nurture that relationship, if you're just really tired or feeling ill or burnt out, you can go, look, I know we need to spend time together and I really want to. I'm just absolutely, you know, I'm burnt out tonight. I'm really tired. What can we do together? You know, is there any way we can do something that will accommodate this? And I know this must be frustrating for you, but you know, I just haven't got it in. It's that communication and awareness. Whereas before, if you haven't got that awareness, you kind of don't know that you're burnt out, and then you're just feeling guilty, and your thoughts are all swirling around, going, "Oh God, I've got to try this, and it's not gonna work." It's communication here and awareness. You're absolutely right, Steph.
Yeah, and these are things we've covered in ADHD Unlocked, and that's why it's just I mean, all these kind of topics that we do, they're all completely, you know, interwoven. They all kind of build on each other, and we need this because of that. And so we always encourage our members to like revisit, you know, go back to embracing failure, go back to boundaries, self-talk. You know, if you haven't watched it, if you missed it, it's really important that you kind of get across this or refresh your memory to help you hear. So, I mean, that's the beauty of ADHD Unlocked and the resources that our members have. So if you haven't yet joined, it's ADHD Awareness Month, right? It's all about getting educated, and we've got a great offer. So do join, take advantage of it.
Yeah, do join. We've got many weeks. I think we've got about 15 weeks worth of resources on all sorts of topics, you know, going back. So learning all about our ADHD challenges, and our offer, half price offer, is on for the whole of October to celebrate ADHD Awareness Month. But there's some points that's come up in the chat which I just very briefly want to cover about what is a healthy relationship. I can't decide if it's a bad relationship. Now, the special webinar, which is on the ADHD Unlocked page that you can access, covers all of this, what a healthy relationship is, how to sort of assess that. So for the person in the chat that's asked that, I would urge you to have a look at that special webinar where we look at that. But it is difficult in relationships. It is a walk in Jurassic Park, but you know, we can be so loving and giving and get it right. So, and we will get it right. So thank you to everybody that's joined us for what is quite a painful topic this week on relationships. And next week, we are looking at ADHD myth busting for ADHD Awareness Month. So you can communicate all those myths to people in the workplace, friends, family. Something really important. It's going to be a very exciting week. So do join us between, you know, now and next week to take full advantage of this. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining us today. Sorry we couldn't go live, but we're going to post this video immediately onto the page. And you all take care, stay well and healthy, top up your tanks, and we'll see you next week. ADHD Unlockers. So thank you and bye-bye.